Robert's tip not coming?
I don't know. That's a great question. Let me find out.
We're waiting for exactly 5:30. 5:30. Okay. Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, it's 5:30. Location is City Hall Council Chambers, 1103 West Main Street. Call to order, please.
President Kaiser,
Here.
Councilman O'Meara,
Go on, I'm trying to call it.
Councilmember Murray,
Here?
and Councilman Chris Jansen.
Present, thank you.
It went to voicemail, so I'm not sure where Councilman O'Meara is at this time.
Okay, then we will move on, and we have three. Pastor Jeremiah Campos from Calvary Chapel, Middleton. Are you here? Yeah, there you are. Thank you.
I can do this now.
Okay. We did not do Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah. I'm happy to.
I was told this was going to be a 3 or 4 hour meeting. I've been rushing. I apologize. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you again for having me and for this opportunity. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much, Lord, as we just pledged our allegiance to this nation. Lord, we're grateful for the nation that you've given to us. And we're grateful for the community that you've given to us. And so, Lord, we ask for your help. We ask for your grace, Lord, as we seek to find ways, Lord, to manage things like growth and ways to appreciate our children and our citizens, Lord, and ways to encourage and inspire growth in our community, Father. We're grateful, Lord, for all the men and women at home and abroad who serve bravely and valiantly. We're ever grateful, eternally grateful, Lord, for those men and women who served and paid the ultimate price. Father, thank you that Middleton is a community that values veterans. Lord, thank you, Father, for our public servants, Lord, here, our police and our fire, our EMT, Lord, and thank you for the crews that go out and work the roads and pipes and everything else that needs to happen to make our community function. Thank you for our children, our most precious asset, Lord. And thank you for the schools that we have, the teachers who serve day in and day out, administrators to janitors, Lord, bus drivers. Father, thank you for all that you've given to us. So help us now to be good stewards. Give us wisdom that's greater than our own. Provide, Lord, for all of the things that need to be paid for. And provide relief for the families who feel as though they're struggling right now, Father. Thank you so much. We ask your blessing and for your direction on this night. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, council, before us, we have an amended agenda. Any questions on the agenda? All right, then I move we approve the agenda posted August 20th at 3 p.m.
All second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we now have public comment on non-public hearing items of city business. You may speak for 3 minutes. Patrons will be called to speak at the podium based on sign-in sheet posted in the back of the public meeting room. We have one name, Tyson Sparrow, on the food truck ordinance.
Council, Tyson Sparrow, 200 North Campbell here in Middleton. Just wanted to see if you guys would bring it back to your attention, the food ordinance, the food truck ordinance. When I set up, started working, had somebody come check, make sure I had a permit. I was on a different government entity's property. We got it all squared away at the city, but I know that I'd sat down with Monica and said, hey, let's go over this ordinance real quick. This is what I'm required to provide to Central District Health, Southwest District Health, as far as requirements for me to even operate. I know that it's come before you guys multiple times. Would like to know what the status of it is as far as the changes that I had discussed with Monica. She said she was going to bring it to people's attention, so just want to know what the status of that was.
Okay, discussion.
Do you want me to?
I didn't know we were commenting on when somebody came up for public.
Well, they asked a question, is the city gonna get back with him?
Is it all right, because it's in the brochure that we're not allowed to? Is it?
Up to you, I can get back to Tyson.
It's okay to indicate
Okay.
that you'll get back to him, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, discussion items. Number 1, city engineer update on development processes and codes for commercial, industrial, and subdivision projects. Ms. Woodruff, please.
Council, thank you for the time and the space tonight. I've been looking forward to talking with you since last meeting on August 6th. As I was reading through and responding to the business forum comments that we went over in June and July, I was reminded the development process is comprised of many components. And while we normally only see and manage one component at a time, all the components are related and fit together. We commonly refer to code. We talk about entitlements and plats. Construction is talked about a lot, but there's a tremendous amount of detail and complexity in the complete conversation. All projects are unique, and the way each project develops is unique, and it each has their own set of circumstances. City Council plays a key role in the process at 3 critical milestones. Council determines the code, Council approves preliminary plats, and Council approves final plats. My goal today is to provide a clear understanding of the development process from first inquiry to final acceptance, including all 3 of those key milestones. I went through my presentation today and I tightened it up just in respect for the size of the agenda. So I took some of the details out. I do ask that you stop me if you have questions or you need more information as we're going through, or we can take questions at the end as well. But I'm trying to compress a couple years worth of work into about 20 minutes. So if something isn't clear, please give me the opportunity to respond to your question, okay? I'm going to cover the information chronologically, which to me was the most logical, starting at the beginning of the project and sequencing it all the way through to final plat. We're going to talk about the code first. What is the code? How is it applied? Then we're going to talk about pre-application and preliminary plats. Then from there, and the biggest segment of our talk will be over the construction process. That takes the most time in the process, and we're going to talk about it the most. How the project gets built, the city's role, and how the construction of the project ties into the final plat. And finally, we'll talk about the final plat process. Okay, slide. First, what is the code? We talk a lot about code, but what is the code that we refer to when these projects are reviewed and built? The code is established by council, and it's the foundation for all these developments. It has multiple components, some of it codified and some is adopted by reference. Middleton City Code, Title 5, Chapter 1, that's where the code lives that's applicable to the plats, preliminary and final plats, and the development standards. Idaho Standard for Public Works Construction, or the ISPWC, Middleton Supplement to the ISPWC, that's where all things construction live, materials, testing, standards, that type of thing. We also use the IDAPA code and Idaho code. These are kind of where the water and wastewater rules that are used by DEQ, that's where they live. This code has a big emphasis on public health and safety. For example, it's where we get code that an 8-inch sewer main has to maintain a certain scour velocity, or municipal well construction standards. Those are all found in IDAPA. This is also where the code lives, that construction plans and project construction, that's required to be done by a licensed professional engineer. And those plans are required to be reviewed either by the city, QLPE, or DEQ. So that's where that code lives and originated from. Okay, thank you. The first step in the development process is the pre-application. Folks make an appointment with the planning and zoning official, and a pre-development meeting is held. The city covers a lot of information at these meetings, again specific to the project, and it can be pretty detailed or it can be pretty high level. Things that we cover, for example, is an annexation needed. Then we'll touch on a development agreement. A rezone is what the folks want to do. Is it allowed in the zone, or do they need to rezone the parcel? And does the zone match the city's future land use designation? Utilities, are they nearby? How big are they? What's the need? As-builts are usually circulated either at that meeting or after the meeting. Transportation is reviewed. Where's the project going to access? Is there any transportation problems? Intersections that may need attention. And we touch on a timeline. When are they looking to submit, and kind of what the city's review turnaround is. There is no code specific to pre-application meetings. And interestingly, a fair number of projects don't advance past the pre-application meeting. They don't advance to preliminary plat. But the ones that do, preliminary plat, sometimes called an entitlement, the purpose of the preliminary plat is to support and uphold orderly development. This is where the development team basically identifies the project, and the city identifies the public infrastructure and requirements that are going to be needed to support the project in a nutshell. The preliminary plat shows the project boundary, it shows easements, it shows lot configuration, utility layouts. It really gives the city the full picture of the project. The code covering preliminary plats is laid out in Title V, again, Middleton City Code. The planning and zoning official is highly, highly involved at the preliminary plat process, and the city engineer really provides technical support, primarily utilities, transportation, connectivity, and really looking at those development standards that are in Title V. After the preliminary plat is in place, the project can then move into construction. Again, we commonly see projects that are sold at preliminary plat. Some never advance to construction, and some advance with alacrity. If the project will be constructed in phases, this is a little nuance. The construction drawings are submitted per phase, consecutively, 1, 2, 3. They can be constructed in multiple phases. 1 and 2 can be constructed together, but the phasing can't be changed without the folks coming back to council and getting an approval for a change in the phasing plan. And I think you see that relatively regularly. Slide 2. Or next slide, please. The preliminary plat is in place. The project advances to construction. Construction really has two primary sub-phases, if you will. Sub-phase 1 is the design of the project. Sub-phase 2 is the construction of the project. The design of the project can take a year or more. After the project is designed by the developer's engineer, the construction plans, the stormwater management plans, and any other design information is submitted to the city in a plan set. It's a technical and iterative process, pretty intuitive, and the city is in a completely reactive capacity. So the developer submits, we review, get it back to them, they resubmit. The basis of that review, those plans are reviewed primarily against the preliminary plat. What did the folks say they were going to do? The ISP, WC, and Middleton Supplemental, those both play a key role. The IDAPA code might be referenced. The city's facility plans are sometimes reviewed and come into play, and the project will be reviewed against any other development or projects that are in development nearby. And what I mean there is for roads lining up, utilities being in harmony, that type of thing. The project engineer may submit the plans to the irrigation district, or plans may be submitted to HD4 if the construction affects certain collector or arterial roads. The city has an agreement with HD4. City approval of the construction plans, we touched on that earlier, that's required by IDAPA code. So the plan review process, next slide please, concludes in all of the engineering related comments being addressed. The joint trench design is complete now, and it's in place, and the plans are stamped approved. And at that point, that's where the project is handed off back again to the developer's engineer and the development team. And this developer, this engineer, is really going to take the lead during the construction. So now the project's going to move into construction. The project is scheduled for a pre-construction meeting, and a lot happens at these pre-construction meetings. The contractors, the fire district, basically any and all stakeholders are requested to attend the pre-con. The developer's engineer facilitates the meeting. Joint Trench is required to attend. And at the pre-construction meeting, the city reviews with all of those contractors and all the folks present the Middleton supplement. We go over the inspection requirements, how to contact Public Works, how to contact the city engineer, that type of thing. We review a lot of other things at the pre-con that might be relevant. For example, the store's hydrant valves that are required by the fire district, rights of way permits, kind of some, details there. Collars can be constructed with bar or fiber, doesn't require a bowl, so that type of thing we cover. The Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, or SWIP, is required to be in place as a condition of the pre-con meeting, and a construction schedule, important component, is developed at that meeting and then circulated after. So the Middleton supplement to the ISPWC details the city's process, specifically Section 2100 project inspection. The developer's engineer is responsible for heading up the project administration and the project inspection. What we call that is a construction QA/QC, or quality assurance, quality control. There is a list of testing requirements and inspection requirements detailed in the Middleton supplement. As the developer's engineer inspects and makes site visits, they keep a diary or a log. Typical construction sequencing is utilities first, sewer goes in first, then water, pressure irrigation goes in about this time, and then the road is constructed. Again, really intuitive, subgrade, then pit run, base, concrete, pavement, like a layer cake. And that's just real general sequencing. And again, the ISPWC details the standards for materials, construction, and testing. City Public Works staff will inspect certain construction items and may be called on to inspect other items in the field. For water, Public Works inspects connection to existing pipes, thrust blocks, potable and non-potable main crossings as practical, pipe bedding, finder wire, and services. For sewer, Public Works inspects connection to existing pipes or manholes, the easy wrap on the manholes that prevent water intrusion, that sealant. Public Works needs to see that, pipe bedding and grade rings. There's other inspections that they review as well. Once all construction is complete in the field, we got this thing built, project's going to advance toward final plat. Now the goal of the final plat for the city is a little bit different from the goal of the final plat for the developer. The city is accepting a dedication of roadway and infrastructure, and the developer is creating parcels to market. But we're all advancing toward final plat here. The ball is still very much in the developer's court, and we're still in construction with the goal of getting the final plat. This is the part of the process that we would identify as the pinch point. This is kind of where the rubber meets the road with the Middleton process. The developer's engineer has compiled all the project inspections and project tests. Remember, we said they were out on site and they're keeping a daily log. So they take that log, they take the project tests that are required in the ISPWC and the supplemental, and this is all compiled in a project completion packet. There's a checklist in the Middleton supplemental that details all the items that are to be included in this project completion packet. So it's all of those things we just touched on, plus record drawings, CAD files, that type of thing. Now remember, the city's still in a reactive capacity here. So the completion packet is submitted to the city through the front desk there, and the city reviews the packet. Then the city makes, using the same checklist, makes a note of items that may be deficient or weren't included and gives that back to the developer's engineer. Developer's engineer finds those items, resubmits them to the city, and the completion packet is in place. So I'm gonna pause here for just a second on that process. Some of the comments that were in the business forum were Middleton's process is atypical, Middleton's process is confusing or not well understood, that type of feedback, and that's not false, council. That's not false. The city's process is different, and it's different from other big cities. There's basically two different development models that we see, especially in this valley. Model number one is Middleton's code, and it relies solely on the developer's engineer to uphold that QA/QC, quality assurance, quality control of the project. And that's done through the testing and inspection that's detailed in the Middleton supplemental. That's the small city model. Middleton's current code has been in place since before 2012, basically in its current form. So it isn't new code, but it doesn't seem to get easier for some development teams. Some navigate it better than others. In other cities in the valley, the city has a full-time inspection staff. So think Nampa, think Meridian. they have inspectors that take over the role completely of inspecting and documenting the construction as it's underway, and the development team doesn't assume that, okay? So those are the two models, and that's the big difference that we see in those two models. Public Works, they do interim inspections at critical milestones. We covered that prior. The city engineer, we're available to meet on project-specific type stuff like a drop manhole or something unique. But the city engineer doesn't inspect the construction. It's the developer's engineer that documents and verifies to the city that the construction meets the minimum standard of the ISPWC, and that's done through that completion packet. And at this juncture, now we're still in construction, all the work's done, we're paid, okay? So if the project QA/QC is reviewed and there are missing items or deficient items that can't be produced, it's very, very hard to recreate tests. Very, very hard to recreate inspections once all of that stuff is in place. So at that point, the process is we're working with the developer's engineer and the development team to figure out what are the next steps, right? When the completion packet submittal is complete, it's a beautiful process, and some of them are. They just go bing bada boom, and some of them aren't quite as smooth. And I think you can understand that. There's infrastructure that's ready to be dedicated. These folks want to create lots. The development team wants to get their lots done, get their plat recorded, and move forward. And the city wants to make sure that the dedication that they're taking forever in perpetuity meets the ISPWC. So that process right there is where we see the most questions or pinch point, if you will.
Yeah, I do, but Mayor, Council, I do have a couple of questions. More a comment, and a number of them, with the sake of the time and what we have to go through tonight, maybe we could get together and talk about some of the more specific questions related to the feedback, the specific feedback from the public and, at large, and people that do business even today. So I won't go into that if you are okay with meeting and talking these things over.
Absolutely.
Okay, one thing you just mentioned is that one of the things that we suggested to the city is that we go out and compare our processes. How long has this process been in place as you've written it tonight?
Since before 2012.
So the other thing would be, do we have an opportunity? I mean, the public, obviously, the public meaning the people that do business here, not me, but the public that do business have a different perception of what our policy is as compared to other cities. You mentioned that other cities are different than us for the reasons you mentioned. But is there an opportunity for us to take a look at change because they feel that we're not consistent? Even cities of our same size or smaller. So I guess really that being said is, how consistent is this process with others? It's a question. How consistent is this with other cities?
Are we comparing other cities that are larger to us, that have a bigger budget, or are we comparing us to cities of the same population and similar budgets?
Well, I think I'd like to.
Okay.
Yeah, it was similar cities. I don't want to compare to Nampa or Caldwell. They're a whole different ballgame, like she mentioned. I don't propose that we do that, but there are processes that we can maybe look at that are more streamlined for the developer or whatever. But my point is just to say, how consistent are we, and do we have an opportunity to make change in our process? That we don't want to do anything that's a violation of the codes or the laws. Never purport. I would want not to ever do that. That's not the opportunity. But there are alternate ways. There are other ways of accomplishing the same thing. So do we have an opportunity there? I guess is really the purpose of the question.
I think staff thinks we do, and we would like to bring forward, or I don't want to speak for the burden in Public Works, but We think there are some things that we could even do and not completely upend the city's process, but modifications in the city's process that we could bring forward that would make the process better.
Well, that would be really what the whole purpose of this was for.
Yep.
Wasn't to cast stones or to make everyone feel uncomfortable that we're not doing everything we can. The idea is to make our development process as seamless as possible, knowing that every application is likely to have something happen that's out of the ordinary or needs discussion or whatever. Difference of interpretation, differences of whatever, that's going to happen. So it's how we handle it after that point. And so we have, anyway, I've gone beyond. So if it is that you agree that we can take a look at this and maybe see areas that we can improve the process. Plus, I would like to talk to you about some other things that I think could be in here that might help.
We would welcome that.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
May I continue on?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're still in construction.
Okay.
The final step in the city's construction process is the final walkthrough, and that's the walkthrough of the actual items in the field. The city, the developer's engineer, sometimes the owner attends. They meet on site and do a physical inventory and an inspection of the water, sewer, roads, and all the code required items that are in place. The city verifies that the irrigation system is functional and the street lights are energized and working. After the walkthrough, a punch list of items are developed and circulated with the development team. And the purpose of the final inspection and final walkthrough, I think, is pretty intuitive as well. The city's accepting ownership and maintenance perpetually, and they want to make sure and verify that the infrastructure condition in the field meets public works standards, and those standards laid out in the ISPWC. This is akin to like buying a new car. You want to make sure all the lights work and the manuals are provided, etc. After the punch list items are addressed by the development team, the developer's engineer notifies the city, and the city does a verification walkthrough. The punch list verification is normally the last item prior to the final plat being advanced to city council. And I was going to touch on the importance of the completion packet, but out of respect for everybody's time, we can touch on that a different day. But the city, that completion packet is part of the city's permanent archive. And it is referenced regularly. If there's a problem in the field, we go back, check those inspections, and look at those tests, and kind of see what was installed and how it was installed. So that's construction in a nutshell. And that's a real thumbnail sketch of a very big process. Okay? And the last component we're going to talk about is the final plat. We talked about all the work leading up to the final plat, but the actual final plat is a business item and a relatively short process. The code applicable to final plats is in Title V and Idaho Code. The final plat depicts lots, bearings, easements, and it basically allows a surveyor to retrace ownership. That's what a final plat does. The final plat recommendation from the city engineer, the final plats are accompanied by a recommendation from the city engineer, and that recommendation is a verification that all of the city code has been met, and that the city may accept the dedication of the infrastructure. It meets the ISPWC. And if there's any deviation from that, then that's in that recommendation to you. If there's a surety that's been submitted or an item that isn't quite checked off. So that's the final plat process. The city's code doesn't contemplate bonding, which you guys know, except in real specific cases and with an allowance in the development agreement, which is what West Texas has. After the final plat's approved by council, the city's signatures are placed. That's typically the mayor, the clerk, and the city engineer. And the development team is considered to have satisfied all the platting requirements of the city. The development team continues to coordinate closely with the city on other items related more to transitioning into building permit, but the plat is recorded and the platting is complete. The date of recording, the recording date basically starts a 1-year warranty period, and at 1 year, it's actually about 11 months, the city completes a warranty walkthrough and develops a punch list of items for repair. So anything that's kind of reared itself in that year between recording and the 1-year interval is the warranty period, and repairs need to be in place within 45 days And then the city, usually Public Works, confirms those warranty repairs. So the final slide, key takeaways: process ensures code compliant, sustainable growth. We covered council's role at those critical milestones, and I'd like to answer any questions that you have, other than what we talked about.
I thought you concluded, sorry. No, thank you, Amy. I appreciate the fact you've come tonight and presented, and that you're going to give the opportunity to have some further discussion. The idea is to make things better. So, thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Amy.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay, number 2, upcoming judicial confirmation hearing to authorize the city to incur debt for its wastewater system in an approximate amount of $78,558,000 is scheduled for October 1st, 2025. Mr. Van Gilder and Ms. Hobbs, please.
Jason Van Gilder, Public Works Director. Again, just to keep council informed, we've been up here, I think, just about every meeting for the last several meetings on something on this project, and let you know that we do have the next step scheduled. We're looking at October 1st to go before the judge on the judicial confirmation for the treatment plant. As always, if folks are interested in the how or the why we need to do this, please reach out. We're glad to describe the process and the necessity for doing this. We appreciate the council's support as we go along. So with that, so thank you.
Any
Jason.
questions?
Can you, because it's been about a year, can you explain the correlation between the raises we've been doing last year and we're proposing this year and this bond we're taking out? I believe it was, we have to establish a certain income level.
Yes, yes, I can. That's a great question. Chairman and council member, about 2 years ago, we hired a firm called FCS Group to do a rate study, and that looked at the likelihood that we would be taking out a loan of this size at about this time, and could our utility rates afford it. To put it in simplest terms, think of it as a very large mortgage. Once you take that mortgage, you need to make your mortgage payments, and our utility revenues need to be at a level that we can afford to make those payments, and also keep our staff working and maintaining our system as we do. That report came back and recommended a step increase to our utility rates that council implemented last year, and again is set to implement again this year, of quite large increases of 25% each of those 2 years, and then I believe followed by a 15% or so the 1 or 2 years following. I would have to look up to know precisely, but yes, it is a steep increase, but it's a large mortgage payment that's going to be coming due about the time the plant comes online is when we're anticipating a first mortgage payment. So we recognize it is a challenge for the city. It's sort of the only option in town. That's why we're at a judicial confirmation, because we can prove it it's ordinary and necessary. Those are the 2 tests for that process. And then we're working along the way to find ways where we could potentially find reduction in cost, find other partners to partner with us and find other funds. Since then, as part of that rate study, we increased the connection fees in sort of a separate motion to that. We are also looking at impact fees that may be able to offset at least some of the costs for the expansions that are anticipated after the current first phase project. So we have a lot of things. We are turning over every stone that we can to find more money and do the best we can for the city. Is that
Yes.
answer your question?
But just to dredge up history here,
Yes.
can you confirm that we raised rates on developers for connection fees as high as we legally could in order to offset what burden we would have to put on homeowners?
We did raise the connection fees to very nearly the maximum that the report said they could be raised to, and while connection fees cannot directly go towards capital improvement, they can go to capital project, they can go to offset. They're based on the valuation of the system that they're buying into. So yes, that is one component that we have used to offset this cost as much as we can.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mayor.
Could you explain to some of the people that may be here for the first time, we are not doing this because it's to add on new construction. We're doing it for the reasons of...
Yes, I'd be glad to, Mayor. Just to back up, our current wastewater treatment plant permit, that is the permission we have to send the treated wastewater into the Boise River, or into the Boise, or the Mill Slough, which then goes into Boise River, was issued in 1999. That permit had less stringent limits than it would if it was issued today. In the interim, since that permit has been issued, there's been, I believe, two studies that set limits on the Boise River for all the dischargers up and down, one for sediment, and the more interesting one in 2015 was for phosphorus. Phosphorus is proving quite a challenge. Our current technology does not treat to nearly the levels that are required by that limit in that what's called the TMDL. So we need really a new process and new equipment, which is much more intensive than what's there now. So that's really the driver behind our plant. We know a new permit is in the works. They are drafting it now. We anticipate we'll see a draft of it towards the end of the year, with a schedule to reissue that permit next spring. And that is really the driver behind why we need to make this investment in our sewer system.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Action item 1, council's our consent agenda. Consider approving minutes of City Council August 6. Consider ratifying payroll for August 8. Consider approving accounts payable through August 20th. And consider approving the Q3 Treasury Report. Council, do you have a chance to look through the Treasurer's Report? If you have any questions on that. Okay. Any questions on accounts payable? Everything was status quo there. All right. And I move we approve consent agenda items A, B, C, and D.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2, regarding the Extreme Tour, consider authorizing the mayor to approve a special community event application for the Extreme Tour at Piccadilly Park on September 3rd, 2025. Mr. Matt Sapp, please.
Hello, good evening, council, mayor. So I'm Matt Sapp, and my lovely wife is joining me. We have been part of this community for roughly 12 years. In the last 9 years, we've actually hosted this event, I think minus 1 year, I believe, that it was not in Middleton. And so essentially it's a group that we partnered with that goes across the nation. We actually go to the UK and just promote just being positive and hope, and trying to just be there for mostly like the teenagers and stuff at parks, and generally where the organization goes is typically to like parks, skate parks, and just try to let them know that like people care about them and they love them, and just be a positive influence for them. So
May I ask a question?
absolutely.
You said 9 years, but you missed 1 year, so 8 years?
I believe it's 8 years. I think 1 year we actually had it in Meridian.
Okay.
We heard about a couple suicides in the Meridian area, so we
Felt the need.
pulled from this, and so my wife and I have sponsored them to come each year just out of our own finances. We
And
just
there's been
love,
no issues the 8 years that you've been here?
issues
Like
with,
at the park where, I mean, no, it's it's always been a mellow, wonderful event.
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
yes, yeah. It's been a great time. The kids love it. We have like fun interactive games with them, and just there to celebrate that.
What are the hours?
I believe it's 5,
3 to 7
oh, 3 to 7.
Okay. Thank you.
Council, any questions? Appreciate it. All right. Then I move we authorize the mayor to approve a special community events application for the Extreme Tour at Piccadilly Park on September 3rd, 2025.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can count my fingers, the number of times I've seconded something. When Tim's not here, it's you.
Okay, we are opening the public hearing. The time is 6:10.
6:10.
We're getting a new clock for it. 6:10. Consider approving the traffic impact fee program 2025 minor update. Kittleson Associates, and Ms. Hobbs, please.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'm not going to be presenting tonight, but we have Kittleson and Associates, so I thought I would introduce them. They can come up and they're going to give the presentation.
Okay. Hi, council members, mayor. Glad to be here today to talk about this topic with you. While the PowerPoint slides gets opened up, I'll start by introducing myself. So my name is Mark Heisinger, and I'm a senior engineer at Kittleson Associates. We're transportation planning and engineering consultants here in the Treasure Valley. And yeah, like the title of this says, we'll be here to talk about a proposed minor update that we have been working through with city staff in the past 6 months or so here for the capital improvement plan and traffic impact fees. And yeah, with that, we'll get started. Yeah, so we have a brief presentation today, so we'll start by providing a background on the currently adopted capital improvement plan and traffic impact fee program, which was adopted back in 2021, just provide some context for how that program works and how it was developed. I just want to point out, you'll see the acronym CIP and TIF a lot. So CIP is capital improvement plan, TIF is traffic impact fee. There's a lot of words to include on every bullet, so we shortened it up. So I'll start there, then we'll talk about the purpose and scope of this specific update in 2025 and why we're calling it a minor update. We'll talk about changes to the actual CIP project list that are being proposed, and then changes to the traffic impact fee schedule. And for those of you who aren't familiar with kind of the relationship between capital improvement plan and the traffic impact fees can only be spent on projects within a capital improvement plan and need to be calculated based on cost of projects in the capital improvement plan. So that's why we're talking about both of those items at the same time. So real quick, just provide a quick background on the currently adopted CIP and TIF program. So when we went through that process, we really started with a peer review of traffic impact fee programs, really focusing on programs in the state since they're specific and must meet requirements in Idaho code. So we looked a little bit out of state, but really focused on state just to make sure we were meeting requirements there. And from there, we chose a traffic impact fee methodology that was really consistent with what other agencies used in the Treasure Valley. And that's a system that's where fees are determined by a development's overall impact on the transportation system using vehicle miles traveled as a metric. And we chose that because, number one, it leveraged data, demographic growth data from Compass, as well as traffic data from Compass, the regional metropolitan planning organization, and it also meets requirements in Idaho code. Agencies had already been using that methodology for over a decade in the valley, so we felt that it was proven and defensible. So once we decided on the methodology, we went through the process of actually identifying impact eligible projects to include in the CIP, and using the cost of those projects to calculate the traffic impact fees. And that was a fairly comprehensive process. So it started with really an evaluation of existing level of service. How does the transportation system perform today? That was a critical part of the process because impact fees cannot be spent on to cure existing deficiencies, and that's stated in Idaho code. So we started there. We took a good hard look at 20-year growth projections using Compass's demographic projections at the start, and then modifying those just based on development patterns that we were aware of. And then from there, we use that to estimate future travel patterns and those impacts on transportation system. And we did a future system level of service evaluation. We use level of service A, B, C through F. If you're familiar with how transportation impact studies work, you use kind of that same methodology where A means very little delay to a driver, F means a significant increase in delay to a driver. So from there, and really those future deficiencies that are not already existing deficiencies are the projects that are eligible for impact fee funding. And that goes for other impact fee programs as well. So we're just staying consistent with code there. So we went through the project identification process, and it is really the total cost of those projects that were used to determine the traffic impact fees. So there's a direct correlation between the total impact fee eligible costs of those projects and the resulting impact fees. So next slide. Thanks. So that program was adopted in 2021 by the City of Middleton, City of Star, just the portion of City of Star within Canyon County, and then Highway District 4. And the service area boundaries are shown by that pink line in that map. And that was developed through a joint development impact fee advisory committee, which is that acronym you see there. Since adoption, the city has collected roughly $1.2 million per year of traffic impact fees. And those are just, at the end of the day, those are fees that are paid by development to fund system capacity improvements that are needed due to future development. And I know they've gone in to help fund projects like the Signal at Cemetery and 44, I believe the Sawtooth and Middleton Roundabout, and a couple others as well.
Can you explain real quick before you move on how that money's distributed, since there are 3 partners involved?
Yeah, great question. So that, could you go to that previous slide, please, with the boundary? There you go. Yeah. So essentially, we use that boundary to come up with consistent fees within the entire service area. But fees that are collected by the city or by HD4, Canyon County through extension, still need to be spent by those agencies. So fees spent by the city need to be spent on projects in the city's jurisdiction. And then exactly how those are spent are left up to essentially the discretion of the city and whatever the highest priorities are at that time.
I guess to clarify a little bit, who gets what? Is it cut in thirds? Projects fully in the city of Middleton, does HD4 get a third and Star get a third and we get a third? Or is it, how is the money divided by jurisdiction?
So if the project is solely within the city's jurisdiction, then it'll be 100% funded by the city towards that project. For projects that are right on the boundary, that'll essentially be a case-by-case basis.
Okay, and then projects in the county are solely county.
Correct.
Would be HD4.
Yep, exactly. So for example, you'll see on the map there's a project on Old Highway 30 in Galloway. You know, that is solely within Canyon County, unincorporated Canyon County HD4. So that would be funded by fees collected by HD4, 100% by HD4.
Does ITD collect impact fees?
ITD does not collect impact fees.
Well, that's not helpful.
They do collect proportionate share fees in addition to this.
So if we wanted to signalize one of the intersections on Highway 44, let's say Lansing, we have, my understanding is, some very minimal rights at those intersections, right? Like just small percentages and the rest is HD4 and ITD, right? So would we only pay according to what percentage right we have at that intersection?
Yeah,
even if it was within city limits?
Yeah, so it'll be essentially up to this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but up to the city working with HD4 and ITD really on a case-by-case basis based on funding that's available The city can pay for more than 50%, they can pay for less than 50%. Yeah, and unfortunately I don't have a cut and dry answer there.
Oh, that's all right, I'm just.
If I could, on a couple examples, Councilmember Chairman, the Lincoln Roundabout is being funded with impact fees. And in that case, HD4 and the city and Caldwell entered into a memorandum of agreement where we agreed to put in so much of our impact fees, and they did as well. The Hartley intersection was funded somewhat through impact fees and somewhat through proportionate share fees and some other fees that the city has. So both ITD proportionate share fees and impact fees, because the impact fees cannot pay for the highway, the ITD portion. They can only pay for the approaches and a portion of the signal that affects both. Okay. So they are separated, there are different fees, and they can all be applicable to projects as the city deems necessary.
It's truly case by case. There's sometimes developers involved, sometimes not. And everybody tries to make the best agreement on how to pay for it.
Okay.
So, President Kaiser.
Yeah.
Going along with, I'm fairly new to this particular part of the process, but to the ordinance that we're looking at tonight, it's specific to Middleton. And I look at Exhibit A, and I look at the fees that are being proposed in that. Are these fees just for Middleton, the projects within, or are all the entities that are involved in this, do they have the same numbers? Number one. Number two, the approval process. I assume they each have their own ordinance. Do they all have to approve that ordinance for ours to become effective?
Yeah, council member, good questions. So I'll try to answer them all one by one there. So
Okay.
I don't, not each agency needs to adopt this for you to collect your fees, if that makes sense. So I believe the city will be the first land use authority to approve this update, and you would collect those updated fees. The other agencies would keep collecting those currently adopted 2021 fees until they choose to adopt this updated CIP and impact fee program. And part of the reason, maybe just for some context of why we have this bigger area, is largely just for best practices when it comes to planning for continuity in the transportation system. And as the city kind of annexes within a patchwork, making sure that impact fees are consistent and they're going to similar projects within the system.
Okay, so to clarify maybe my question, and I didn't answer it properly, but the new fees that I see here, are those fees the same that STAR and the other entity that would be looking at these increases, would the numbers be the same? And so if it is that they have a period of time before they approve this, for whatever reason, we are collecting more money on that. So I guess I'm really confused, back to President Kaiser's question, how everything is allocated with those changes. Maybe, and let me know if this question is just, let's catch you later, Mark, I'll explain that. But, you know, the allocation of the funds and the approvals and the process like that is a little confusing.
So those are fair questions. Our recommendation would be that these agencies adopt these exact same fees as you see in front of you. It is up to those agencies if they want to adopt those. They can always come back and say, well, actually, we want to adopt these, but 10% lower. They have that authority. I think at the end of the day, though, it's really the city is collecting these fees for development within your city, and you're spending it within your city.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with the other land use agencies. So the city of Star, they will only collect fees if it's within their jurisdiction, within the service area, and they can only spend it on projects within the service area, within their jurisdiction.
Except for those areas that are case by case.
There's some blending, yes.
Yeah, because a lot of the projects are not entirely within jurisdiction.
Yeah,
half of them are on a boundary. So.
Honestly, I'm not trying to make an issue, I'm just trying to understand.
No, it's a fair question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, I think we might have skipped one. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. So that was the background on the previous CIP. So I wanted to provide just some more context for the purpose and the scope of this update. So in terms of purpose, number one, CIPs must be updated every 5 years for jurisdiction to keep collecting impact fees to fund projects on the CIP. So we're not quite at that 5-year mark, but getting close. I think 2026 is when the city will be required. But really, the primary impetus for this update is really rising construction costs, and that's based on just discussions with city staff and their experiences, working and implementing this program. So that was really the main reason, especially since this current CIP is based on costs that are about 5 to 6 years old at this point. And then in addition to that, there were also just some minor changes that the staff wanted to make based on development patterns and again, just their experiences implementing this program. So the scope of this update started with just updates to project costs based on recent project bids from contractors. So what are we actually seeing on the ground, these projects costing? We did make some minor changes to the project list and just project implementation timelines. We made some updates to traffic impact fee calculation factors, and I'll talk about those a little bit more in the next couple slides here. We met with the Development Impact Fee Advisory Committee to review these changes. And then one important item is that unlike the 2021 CIP, we did not perform that comprehensive reevaluation of the transportation system's level of service under existing and future conditions. And so since we're relying on that evaluation that was done in the previous CIP, there are really limited changes that we can make to the project list. And we chose to go this path because just scoping and discussing this project, we really saw that the main challenge that we were seeing with the current CIP was just project costs that were low compared to what we saw in the field. And it was just a much more lower level of effort to go just this minor update, really focus on increasing project costs rather than that full reevaluation of the transportation system. So that's kind of the unique thing about this update versus other updates that I wanted to point out. Okay, next slide. Okay, so with that, we'll jump into the update itself and some of our findings and results. So we started by updating CIP project costs again. These were developed in 2020, 2021, so really relying on project bids from kind of that 2018 to 2021 timeframe. Luckily, when we were developing this, we were starting to see prices creep up, so that was in 2021, so we were somewhat able to account for it, but obviously costs have changed a lot since then. So when we were reevaluating this, we really focused on local bids within Canyon County and within the city where possible to help inform these cost estimates. We were able to receive bids from a couple of projects that were already in the CIP in the city, so traffic signals at Hartley Road, Cemetery Road, the Sawtooth Lake Middleton Road roundabout, as well as some road reconstructions. So really some very good direct data that we could use to inform our cost estimates based directly on bids that were received for projects that were already in the CIP. So we did that evaluation and really we saw our base unit costs increase from anywhere between 20% and 70%. So just for example, our signal costs, signal equipment costs, those didn't change a ton. Those are more than that 20% increase. But items like roadway widening, those are really where we saw the biggest increases in project costs. And that's a trend that's pretty consistent with what we're seeing in other agencies across the Treasure Valley, largely one of the biggest factors is due to just increasing right-of-way costs. Yeah, next slide. Okay, and like I said, we also made just some minor changes to the CIP's project list. So this map on the screen shows the proposed CIP project list as part of this minor update. It includes 16 roadway projects. Those consist of roadway widenings, turn lanes, as well as a couple new roadway connections, and then 33 intersection projects. And those consist of traffic signals, roundabouts, as well as some access restriction projects. All projects that look at improving vehicular capacity on the roadway system. I do want to point out that some of these are not impact fee eligible as they are existing efficiencies, but the remainder and the vast majority of projects on this map are eligible for impact fee funding and are the only projects that the city can spend traffic impact fees on. This hasn't changed too much from what the city has in your currently adopted CIP, but we have made some changes that I'd like to highlight. Again, all these changes were based on the previous level of service analysis findings from the currently adopted CIP, and were made just based on conversations with agency staff, partner agencies, and just knowledge of recent development patterns. So we added 3 projects, all roundabouts. One is the roundabout at Purple Sage and Cemetery Road, so we added that one to this list. And then we had 2 other roundabouts along the Blessinger Road corridor, and those 2 were really requests from Highway District 4. We then removed the majority of 2 new collector roadway projects. One was Willis Road between Cemetery and Middleton, and the other one was 9th Street between Duff and Cemetery. And I'll take a minute to explain kind of that rationale. So the majority of those roads are anticipated to be constructed directly via development when development comes in. So they'll buy the land and they'll directly construct that collector along with development. So really less of a system improvement, more of a specific project improvement. So if the city were to make those new collector roadways impact fee eligible, then and the development was to come in and construct those, you would essentially need to refund the cost of those projects since they're already in the CIP. And so the city can't really pay for these projects via both impact fees and exaction. So by removing those, we're essentially assuming that those will be built directly via development exaction. So we're removing them here, but still not anticipating that the city would pay for those directly. And that's one specific item that just as the city was implementing the CIP, that was feedback we got that was a challenge. There were a couple new collector roadways that were assumed in the CIP. Development came in and built them and essentially did not pay any impact fees because they were refunded for the cost of constructing those new collector roadways. Okay, and then the final change we made is that there were a couple projects that were completed, and we've essentially frozen the cost of those projects in the CIP as they are no longer eligible for impact fee funding, and they've already been constructed. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this slide compares the city's current traffic impact fees and fees as part of the proposed update. I want to note these are just 3 different sample land uses. The impact fee schedule contains over 40 different land uses. So if you've seen this large table, this is the impact fee schedule, but we just wanted to provide a couple commonly used ones for comparison. And again, project costs, those are really the main items that drove this change in impact fees. But there were also some changes to the traffic impact fee calculation factors that I'd like to highlight. Number 1 is that the methodology uses a vehicle miles growth factor from Compass's travel demand model that we use to basically proportionally connect the overall impact fee eligible costs with incremental growth. This factor was updated just based on feedback from Compass and to make this methodology more consistent with other agencies in the valley. The second main change we made was that we updated trip generation rates for each individual land use. We rely on the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation manual for this kind of information. It essentially says per 1,000 square feet for different land uses, or per housing unit, it'll generate X amount of trips in the PM peak hour. That trip generation manual has been updated since 2021. So essentially, all we did there was go through and where the manual provides updated values, updated accordingly, and that's to make it consistent really with what you'll see in traffic impact studies. It's kind of just best practices in terms of getting that updated. For some land uses, trip generation rates have not changed at all since 2021. Well, some have changed quite a bit, hence why you won't see uniform changes in the traffic impact fees for these different land uses. So single family home, shopping center, those are examples where I believe the trip generation rate stayed essentially the same, and those saw an increase about 17-18%, whereas office, the updated trip generation manual shows significantly more trips, per 1,000 square feet, and so you see a 54% change. Generally, these impact fees are going to be increasing in that 17 to 18% range, while you'll see some that are higher and maybe some that are a little bit lower. And so that's essentially what I had for the council today. I do have one more slide just with kind of a summary of next steps. So I believe the action on the table today is consider approving the traffic impact fee program 2025 minor update. We will come back for approval with planning and zoning in October 2025, and then final approval by the council in November 2025. And just to recap, really the changes that are part of this are those changes to the project list and then those changes in the traffic impact fee schedule. With that, I'll take your questions.
Anybody else have
Questions?
questions?
Questions, council? Looks like you're good.
Thank you.
Okay, we are opening for public testimony. The time is 6:35 and there is no one signed up, so we're closing the public testimony at 6:35, 25, 35?
35.
We're getting a new clock for me.
That takes care of 3.
Yeah. Number 4, consider approving ordinance 713, an ordinance of the city of Middleton, Canyon County, Idaho, amending Title 1, Chapter 20, Section 01-20-12 of the Middleton City Code containing the impact fee schedule, providing for an effective date, providing for its servability, and repealing all ordinances, resolutions, orders, and parts thereof in conflict herewith, effected upon adoption of the total CHIP 2025 minor updates. Ms. Hobbs.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance to in fact update the transportation impact fee schedule with our fee schedule once you finally approve it in November. So we'll have to go to P&Z for the projects. It'll come back to you for an overall, and then this will be finalized. This is here tonight so that we can make sure that we have it as part of our budget.
So we're putting the cart before the horse.
In a sense, so we can also get it into the budget tonight as part of the FY26 fee schedule for the attachment E.
Because it hasn't even been to planning and zoning yet. What if they look at it and say, nah, I don't like it, let's redo some things?
Theirs would be project-based, not fee-based. Yours is fee-based.
Oh, ours is fee-based,
Yeah,
okay.
that's why this is here tonight.
Well, if they adjust the project base, that adjusts the fee base potentially.
No, the fee-based are saying the projects can change, but the fee...
The fee itself stays the
Yes.
same, okay.
Yeah.
Just haven't remember doing it this way. It's a little, seems like we're putting the, which came first, chicken or the egg?
We had some changes with our impact fee advisory board. We had some vacancies, so we got those filled. We had them meet with Middleton when the team had gone through their overall plan. So we thought it would be great to include it. So the money part is kind of addressed now, and then we can address the project part later.
Would you mind if I talk a little bit?
Your name?
Laverne Stewart, planner for this beautiful city, the good people of Middleton. It's partly my fault, President Kaiser. They were so efficient, they brought this forward very quickly, and I still need to do, actually it's a comp plan amendment update. I have to get it attached to a comp plan. So that's what I take to P&Z, and that's what I take to City Council. But I was so busy with the area of impact, that big Canyon County application, and I have to leave for over a week to take care of my mother who's had surgery. So I asked Mayor if, go ahead and get this part done, because y'all are ready. You're like speedsters, but I gotta catch up, and I just haven't been able to.
Okay.
And so that's why, because you're right, it is a little backwards, but I'm gonna clean it up as soon as I get back into town.
So then the fees won't take effect until November.
Right.
I mean, it's gotta come back before it's
Right.
get approved again, but it's already approved in the ordinance. That's where I'm
So,
confused.
and so when I bring it back to you, you will all have remembered this. I might attach Citizens PowerPoint. The work's all done, and it should be, my comp plan amendment should be maybe a 10, 20-minute presentation at most. So we're way ahead of everybody else. Canyon County, HD4 haven't even gone to their impact fee committees, let alone do this work. So we are like lightning speed. So much that even I couldn't keep up.
No, I completely understand that. I have a hard time approving something to approve it again. I'm approving something, or we are approving something as a board, that we have to reapprove in November, but it's already approved in an ordinance.
There would have to be 2 approvals nevertheless.
So what are we approving in November?
November, you're approving attaching this to the comp plan, a comp plan amendment under RUPA. And it's almost housekeeping, truly almost housekeeping. The hard part was done tonight. So I'm gonna come to you and say, in November, you've already approved this on the fee schedule, you've already gone through everything. I'm just now getting your permission to take a copy of it and attach it to the rear of our comp plan. That's all I want.
Okay.
And I have to do that because the state's making me do it.
No, I understand it's gotta be part of the comp plan. That's why.
Otherwise I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, okay.
So again, this is a lot to unpack for me, and I apologize if I'm behind. So what happens if there is a change between then and now, and what we want to do with the fees, or where the fees are appropriate, even considering some of the other things that we're going to be talking
The
about
only
tonight?
change could be made by you. P&Z is a recommending body. They're gonna look at it, and they may not like it, and they'll tell you, and I'll report to you what they're saying, and at that point, you can make a change. And we might have to come back, I don't
So
know.
we could make a change to what it is that we're talking about tonight, which are the fees.
Yeah,
Is that-
but why would you? If you like what you saw tonight, and you approve it, then why would you make a change a month or 2 from now?
Well, I don't know about these guys, but for me, it's a lot to unpack, and I'm not sure that I fully understand all the numbers, especially how they relate to other things we're going to be discussing tonight.
Yeah, and if P&Z does have a recommendation that strikes a chord with you and you want to change, then we might need to consult with the attorneys on the proper procedure. But assuming everything goes well, like typically, if you like what you saw, you would approve it on the fee schedule tonight, and then I bring the housekeeping to amend the comp plan in November. I have to go through P&Z in October, which only meets once a month. That's really what's protracting this, is P&Z is once a month, so. And then I can bring it to you 1st of November. I don't know if you're saying you want more information from them, if this wasn't sufficient, if that's the problem, I don't know. Just-
I
Want
want
to
to
get
keep
ourselves
speaking
in
for
hot
me.
water here? No, I don't, I think it's an anomaly of the timing. It sounds like they're adopting the fees tonight.
Adopting the fees tonight,
Right.
but they won't take effect until I can get that paper attached to the back of the comp plan.
Right.
I get it, the comp plan has to be amended to attach these.
So it is a little bit backwards
Backwards.
for what you're used to seeing. But the adoption of the fees tonight is going to give everybody notice about what you're doing. It feeds into the fees and the budget, right, that are subsequent on the agenda tonight. And then ultimately, these will be implemented when they're attached to the comp plan, which is a statutory requirement. As far as changes go, yes, the Planning and Zoning Commission cannot change the impact fees. Those are established by City Council. They can make a recommendation on the comp plan, and that may come back to you with some kind of a recommendation for you to consider at the time that you're amending the comp plan, which will be November.
It would be, November, 1st of November.
Again, so councilors, you're right. It's a little unusual, but I think it has to do with where we're sitting with respect to the action needed on fees for fiscal year 2026 and your budget.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a timeline on Star and HD4 with this at all? They're
They're just independent and they're slower. They're slower. But if you remember, when we did this back in 2021, Canyon County just absolutely would not do this. And so that's when Mayor Rule took that drastic step to push them.
Yeah.
No, I remember that, that's why it was.
We, on the other hand, we get our homework done. A little fast, but we get her done.
Okay.
I don't have any issue with it.
I just wanted the timing of it because it is awkward, a little awkward, so, okay. Any other questions, council?
I'm good.
All right. Then I move we read ordinance number 713 by title only.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
President Kaiser?
Yes.
Councilman O'Meara?
Yes.
Councilman Christiansen?
Yes.
Councilman Murray?
Yes.
Ordinance 713 reads an ordinance of the City of Middleton, Canyon County, Idaho, amending Title I, Chapter 20, Section 1-20-12 of the Middleton City Code containing the impact fee schedule, providing for an effective date, providing for severability, and repealing all ordinances, resolutions, orders, and parts thereof in conflict herewithin. I move we waive the 3 reading rule and adopt ordinance number 713.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
President Kaiser?
Yes.
Councilman O'Meara?
Yes.
Councilman Christiansen?
Yes.
Councilman Murray?
Yes.
Motion passes. Make a note too, Councilman, there was 6:35.
Okay, we are opening for public hearing. The time is 6:46.
6.
And
All right, Mayor and Council.
there is one person who would like to speak.
Are we going to have the presentation first? Or?
Well, oh, perfect.
So public hearing first. This is, as soon as Kelly brings it up, this is the ordinance to, for the fee schedule. So we're gonna go ahead and, you guys have seen these fee schedule updates 3 times now. The resolution. The resolution is including some administrative fees, some building fees are changing, some are decreasing, some are increasing. This is for the water sewer fee changes. Go ahead and scroll down, Kylie. Right there, we've got some plan review fees are being added. Go ahead and scroll down. We've got the impact fees right there on the attachment when the timing is appropriate. And keep going down all the way to the end. Are there any questions on this, on these particular fees that we've seen a few times?
Anything jump out at you, Rob?
Not yet. Can't look at that one. I'll look at this one.
Nothing's been changed since we reviewed this last council, that this was flashed in front of you. It just looks more official because it's in the resolution form.
Jason, what's the connection size for a standard residential? I don't remember.
The smallest one, the 3/4 by 5/8.
Okay.
President Kaiser and Monica, just a curiosity question, and I don't remember the discussion last time on it, but what formula or what was used to calculate the new rates? I'm sure that they're all different for different reasons.
Correct. So the admin fee would be based off of the average time it would take a clerk or someone to do an administrative action. The building department, you would have to have Mr. Weisner come back and discuss those. He went into detail when he presented why he was changing those fees or adding them. And then the wastewater and the utility fees at the bottom are directly correlated to what we talked about earlier with Jason. And remember that with the city, we cannot charge something that is outside what it costs us to
I was just
perform.
curious, what formula or anything. was
Yeah, so
used.
each particular line item would be a different scenario.
The water and sewer fee was derived from the study, the original study, to give the increase because of the upcoming potential bond. So that we could show that we could actually pay for the bond. Like Jason said, buying a house, they look at your financials to say you can afford this or not.
Correct.
Chairman, that study just covered the sewer fee.
Or sewer fee.
The water fee is
Yeah, because we did not raise the water, or didn't.
we didn't,
that time.
last year, we did this year, not having a water increase 2 years in a row would put us behind on our just keeping up with inflation.
Right.
So there is I believe 5% on water this year.
Okay. All right. Nothing's changed, is my recollection. Any questions from Monica?
No, but can I make a statement?
Sure.
There's a lot of really angry people out there who seem to think that we want to do this. I'd like to remind them that we live in this city too. We pay all the same raises. Nobody wants to raise your taxes, but there are things that we have to do. You don't always get to do things that you like, but we are forced to upgrade our wastewater treatment system, and the money's got to come from somewhere.
Wouldn't it be true to say to that, Jason, I've heard a number of times whether we add capacity or another connection beyond what we have now, the cost would be the same, thus the increases would be not related to the addition of capacity, is that?
We're just trying to keep up with inflation so that we can keep the city running smoothly.
And it's gonna cost to build this thing, and we have to build it because it fits
We'll
in.
have a more in-depth discussion about impact fees and adding connections. Generally, as a whole, the more people we have to share the mortgage payment, the less it'll be, but.
I was actually kind of dovetailing on what was said just now, public information.
Yes.
I think it's just important to know that it's required of us.
Yes.
Yes.
There were 2 emails that were attached in your packet, I'm sure that you reviewed them, or public comments, so I want to make sure that you did read those.
Any more questions? Okay, we are opening public testimony. We have one at
6:52.
6:52. We have one person, Tyson Sparrow, who wants to say he's opposed and testify.
Council members, Mayor, one of the main concerns that I have as a resident of this community, having ran for your seat up there, even the mayor's seat, is y'all are in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Whether you run it for bond or you go for judicial review, in order to build a wastewater treatment plant. Based on how do I put this in a way that doesn't make me sound ignorant. Based on the popularity in which our mayor won an election, I'm confused as to why you wouldn't pursue running a bond if you were to go sell a bond. Because you're mighty popular. Rather than going through judicial review and allowing all the residents of Middleton to weigh in on this new mortgage that everybody's going to have to pay for, including all of our seniors that are strapped to the gills anyways, that are on Social Security, having been in a position to help my family, support my parents, I'm not in favor of this increase at all. And if you don't vote for the 25% increase, does that reduce the amount of the mortgage that you could take out for a wastewater treatment plant? And would that suffice to give us enough money to meet the requirements that we have, or that we are needing in order to comply with getting a new permit? So, I know that nobody wants to come up here and you know, like I said, you guys are in a damned if you do, damned if you don't position. I would have preferred to have a bond. We all know how that would have went, and then you could have gone the judicial review route. But at least the residents would have had a say. Based on the current situation, I guess we don't. So I would encourage you not to do the increase and see what we can do without it, according to the mortgage that we're trying to take out and shouldering everybody in this community with. Thanks.
Okay. We're closing the public hearing and testimony is now closed. The time is 6:54. 55. Thank you. Number 6, consider approving resolution 526-25, a resolution of the Middleton City Council, Middleton, Canyon County, Idaho, amending the current fee schedule to add new administrative fee and fees for residential and commercial building permit deposits, commercial permits, plan reviews, modifying the billing calculations, methodology for commercial plan reviews, and updating verbiage for clarity and industry standards, updating transportation impact fee schedule to align with 2025 Midstar minor update, increasing by 5% or more, water connection fees, water base fees, wastewater sewer base rate, and wastewater sewer use rate, and providing an effective date. The new fees are necessary to cover increased costs associated with these programs and services. Ms. Hobbs, thank you.
Mayor and council, you have the resolution in front of you. For approval or disapproval.
Council, questions on the resolution? No. Okay. Then I move we read resolution 526-25 by title only.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
President Kaiser,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Meara,
Yes.
Councilmember Christiansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Murray.
Yes.
Resolution 526-25 reads a resolution of the Middleton City Council, Middleton, Canyon County, Idaho, amending the current fee schedule to add new administrative fee, add fees for residential and commercial building permit deposits, commercial permits, plan reviews, modifying the billing calculation methodology. I got it. For commercial plan reviews and updating verbiage for clarity and industrial standards, updating transportation impact fee schedule to align with the 2025 Midstar minor update, increasing by 5% or more water connection fees, water base rate, wastewater base rate, and wastewater use rate, providing an effective date. I move we waive the 3 reading rule and adopt resolution 526-25.
Okay, we're opening the public hearing.
Second.
Oh,
We got to vote on it yet.
I don't know why.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
President Kaiser,
Yes.
Councilman O'Meara,
Yes.
Councilman Christiansen,
Yes.
Councilman Murray.
Yes.
Okay, we are opening the public hearing. The time is 6:58. Okay, Tyson Sparrow, please.
We introduced you.
What?
We got to do, what is it? We got to do this first.
Okay. That's okay. Number 7, public hearing. Consider approving the proposed budget for fiscal year 2026 from October 1st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026, pursuant to the Idaho Code 50-1002 to consider adopting an annual appropriations ordinance. Ms. Miles.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
So this is the budget presentation that was presented to you. Nothing has changed. So we're here tonight for the public hearing for you to appropriate this budget for $54,784,232. We can go back through this presentation if you'd like, or we can just move forward with public comment and the appropriation of the budget. It's up to you.
And nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
Okay. I'm okay with not going back through it unless we have questions that come up after public comment that need addressed. Council, how do you feel?
I agree.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.
Okay. Public hearing and testimony is now. Huh? Okay, it's out of sequence. Okay. Then public testimony, Tyson Sparrow. There's, the time is 7.
So the only thing that I had a question for on the budget was the amount that we're saving for remodeling City Hall. I didn't understand if that was 400,000, if it was 1.3 million. I was a little confused as to what that line item was. And is that a nice to have or is that a need to have when we're raising rates on the residents of Middleton in regards to water and sewer? Clarification for the community would be nice on that specific item.
Do you want to address that real quick?
I'm not supposed to.
We can't address items in a public hearing? Yeah. You want Wendy to address that, or?
Yeah, sure, Wendy, you want to address that? You're our numbers lady.
Yeah. Question was, why are we, is it necessary?
Why are we doing this? Is it mandatory?
What is first of all, what's the amount on the line item?
For,
The potential city hall remodel. It's,
Well, while she's looking for that, I can say this. Over the next 2 years, we're looking to hire 3, possibly 4, depends upon something else that is going on. And we have no office space for them. We've been told we can give up this room, we can give up that room, and on and on and on it goes. The fact is, we run out of bathroom space also. And the only reason we're considering taking on more employees is because we're just not able to run as efficiently as we would like to with one person in each department. That being said, we've saved half the money so far, and the longer we put this off, the more costs are going to go up.
thank you, Mayor. So the line item cost is $301,494.70. As you said, yes, last year we saved a little bit for a new city campus was our goal, what we started to save for. That was roughly about $193,000. Then in this year's budget, originally we were saving another $50,000 for. We were talking about remodeling this and then saving for the new city campus, and then it came to light that not this year, but the next budget year, we're more than likely going to need to hire more staff in the P&Z planning and in building department and in finance department. And we don't have the space currently in our city hall. And so like the mayor said, so we decided to take the savings and what we were going to save for this year and just put this $301,000 into expanding City Hall out in this area to include some office spaces and new restrooms. This is not going to probably be enough money to do the whole thing, but it'll be a start to get it framed up and get going, and then potentially get into it, have it going for when we do need it in 2027. Does that answer that question sufficiently?
I believe so.
Okay.
Mike Gray.
You got a Packers cane, Mike.
I got a Packers cane through that just in case. I don't exactly know how to do this, but I've been in this world a few years, and it sounds to me like you want to tack on a lean-to shed, will have a bathroom in it, and whatever else. If we need a new city hall, I know it's not popular. I'm in the same boat the rest of the retirees in Middleton are. I'm 78 and my wife's 83, but don't put that on the record.
Barb's gonna kill you.
Probably. This might be the last speech I ever give. If we need it, we need to do it, but what my thing is, when it comes to building a new city hall, my opinion is what we ought to do is look for a place to put up a metal building. And I'm not talking a pole barn, I'm talking a metal building. They're very nice, they don't have marble floors, they don't have all this other stuff that sometimes we tend to do as cities. They're making a monument to somebody. And I'm not for the monument. There's our monument right there, right behind Mr. Murray. And I'm not saying do it cheap either, but there's some darn nice steel buildings that can be erected a lot more reasonably than, you know, block and mortar and that type of stuff. And that would be what I'm for, and I think some of this planning ought to go to that. I mean, let's face it, I never wanted to see this city grow this much, and I didn't think it would in my lifetime, but obviously it has. But I'm saying, let's not do it on the cheap, but let's do it on the most inexpensive, acceptable type deal. And I really think a steel building, they make nice office spaces in them, they have nice bathrooms in them and all the rest of that. I don't want to see marble floors, and I don't want to see big monuments in front of the deal with, because one like this mayor or one like that mayor, and then when do you stop on putting up statues and all the rest of that stuff? Build a building that's adequate for what we need, a little bit more than adequate for what we need to run this city efficiently and as fairly as it can. That's what I'm for. Anyway, that's what I'm for.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Barb.
Public hearing is now, and testimony is now closed. The time is 7:07. I think it's time to take a short break. That would be okay?
We can do that, or, yeah, we can do that.
I was going to say 7.5 minutes, but we'll go 10. Thank you.
Thanks for the text message. I had my hands full. I was wondering.
I figured you did.
My mother had a breathing problem. Had to get hospice over there. See if we couldn't get it ironed out. Minor emergency, didn't have to take her to the hospital, but.
Well, that's good. When I called, I was worried about it.
Oh, no, it wasn't me this time. Oh, yeah. My
There's a
sister.
list of things they say, hey, sign here, because this could go wrong.
Yep. I'm really fortunate with that so far. Knock on wood if I had some.
Yeah.
No, this time it was my mom.
Oh, man, that's
Oh, Jason. Hey. Are you ready for this Pell meeting? Yeah. This is our response? Okay.
That's pretty good.
Well, only the first thing. Yeah. The rest of it's just backup information.
Let me guess what they come back with.
I don't think we'll have a problem with approving it.
I stumbled on my question about, the federal regulations have gone into the process of operating our wastewater treatment are going to be required whether we add more capacity. That was what I was trying to say, but I'm not sure if I made that clear.
Didn't get that.
Because the public is.
We thought about it. I did a little blog or something. Little 3-minute chunks or 4-minute chunks.
I really think
We'll think about it. Think about
It would
it.
be a good thing because there is, I mean, I read those two letters. And they don't understand. And it's been what we've been dealing with when I was sitting in budgets for all those back when the roll first started.
We raised our dues.
$64 million. We had 5 years to come up with this.
Thank you.
Ask.
Dude, it's good. It'll work better for you.
I'd really like to talk to you about I'm not trying to be obtrusive, but I am asking for change. It's clear. I want to say public. This is really positive. This is different. We need to open opportunities to change. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I just had a problem with my mom. With my mom. She got a little breathing difficulty. Had hospice to medicate her. She was breathing fine when I left, but it was questionable for a minute. So she's going downhill. That's all there is to it. I want her to go downhill quickly. Well, she'll be 90 in January. She's had a good long life, but she's been on. She's been on hospice for the last 7 years. She had a stroke in 16. She developed Alzheimer's after that, so her mind's not there anymore. You never know where she's at. So, she was actually forgetting to breathe.
Well, at that point, you know, I tell my kids, the lights on, nobody's home, or it is that it's not me sitting there anymore. You have to spend more time eating the same place. I don't want to go around. I don't want that to be the last memory.
Yeah, I really don't want that either.
And I said, in Colorado or whatever they do, well, I can kind of end it all. I'm not doing myself anyway. I'm just existing. Not the way I want to be.
Yeah, it's a tough call sometimes, you know. She's with us maybe an hour a week. The rest of the time, you don't know where she's at.
She's in a good place. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I was going to give you a call. I wanted to check with you about the park. Parks thing is just not right. I haven't spent a lot of time on it. But I want to understand it. So this works. If you got time, I'll give you a call.
solve the traffic problem for the middle school out of town. The best thing that happened is they built that high school or the high school off of Main Street. We'd have 10 times the traffic we have now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I go to conference meetings every other day, and then I drive down Cherry, and I pass where all the, I think they're middle schools. Yeah, the traffic is the same. Same.
Drive out by Hawaii High School. I've been out to Hawaii High School. It's out there. It's not long ago. It's in the 80s when I was in school. That's when I was right now. And the community center is the elementary school. So you have the elementary school, middle school, and high school, all on the same spot.
Well, superintendent is considering you on this side, but he's going to inform. But the thing is, it's sometimes more expensive than the longer than so it is because I'm building the oh, we're talking about my expenses. Oh, okay.
Right now, it's just storage.
Do you have any idea?
I mean, not other than what it says.
Okay. Well, I'm just getting people warmed up to sitting back down.
Nobody. I asked Rob earlier and I had no idea. I mean, it doesn't say anything at all. It doesn't say regarding thank you. Oh, it's for public. So it could be legal documents or something.
Go ahead.
Hey, we all back? Number 8, consider adopting ordinance 711, an ordinance of the City of Middleton, Canyon County, Idaho, entitled with the annual appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2025, appropriating $54,784,232 deemed necessary to defray all expenses and liabilities of the City of Middleton, Idaho for fiscal year 2026 and specifying the objects and purposes for which said appropriations are made, providing for a waiver of the reading rules and providing an effective date. Ms. Miles.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is just the action of the ordinance for you to approve that.
Council questions? All right, move we read ordinance 711 by title only.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
President Kaiser?
Yes.
Councilman O'Meara?
Yes.
Councilman Christensen?
Yes.
Councilman Murray?
Yes.
Ordinance 711 reads, an ordinance of the City of Middleton, Canyon County, Idaho, entitled the Annual Appropriation Ordinance for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, appropriating $54,784,232 deemed necessary to defray all expenses and liabilities of the City of Middleton, Idaho for fiscal year 2026, and specifying the objects and purposes for which said appropriations are made. And providing an effective date. I move we waive the 3 reading rule and adopt ordinance 711.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
President Kaiser?
Yes.
Councilman O'Meara?
Yes.
Councilman Christensen?
Yes.
Councilman Murray?
Yes. And why are you eyeballing me, Wendy? You just excited for your budget?
That's a lot of work she's done that just got passed right there.
All right.
Okay. Number 9, consider approving the mayor's appointment of Kyle Restad to serve as a board member of the Middleton Library Board from 9/1 of 2025 to 9/1/2030 as Trent Saxton term is expiring. Ms. Hawes.
Mayor and Council, Kyle Restad is here, and he is being brought before you as an possible appointment from the mayor for the library board. And so I don't know if you have questions, we can bring him up and
I
go from
would
there.
love for Kyle to come up and just introduce himself, please. Would know Kyle if he said
Thank you, council, mayor. I've met, I think, most all of you. I've been a resident of Middleton for 5 years. Do you want me to go into my little spiel. Do you have questions for me, or just want my
I'm
background?
just curious as to why you want to do this. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just, this is not, most people don't run up and say, I want to be on the library board.
So I have I was born and raised in North Dakota, grew up there 25 years. I married a gal who happened to be going to college at UC Santa Barbara. It was a lot warmer back there than Minnesota, so I ended up staying in California for 20 years. This is like home. I've been here 5 years and really, really love it. Through my time, my education background, I've actually got a degree in finance. I hold the designation of a certified financial planner. I'm also a unicorn, which I'm actually a homeschooling dad. I have my oldest is 13, my youngest is 10. My wife is a chiropractor here in town, and she's helped us with maybe, no offense, Julie, I think she'll be okay with this, maybe 3 lessons in that 8 years, but it's pretty much all on me. I've been approached many different times in my life to take a role in politics. I just prefer to be behind the scenes. I know what you guys have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I'm not interested in it. About a month ago, in 10 days, I lost my mom. And really, I'm focusing on spending time where I'm passionate. I'm passionate about helping make sound decisions that's on the information, the content we provide to the community. Education is so essential. But my girls, again, they're 13 and 10. They know how to run payroll. They know how a balance sheet works. They're working on learning how to work on a car. We're working on critical thinking. I've also done a lot of public speaking, a lot of outreach, community information. I think we can do, I've been involved in the different places where I've lived, where we have some community education sessions. Lori allowed me to present a financial literacy session. We had probably 25 kids. It was awesome. We even got into talking to some of these kids about options trading, and they just have so many questions. So whether I can help bring some of those things to the community, this is not to make the city pay additional funds to provide these things. These are figuring out, like in homeschooling, what I need to do, what do I know, what do I need to know, and how do I bridge the gap, and that's really what it's all about. So it's about bringing the real world critical thinking skills to the community and having an opportunity to provide that. So that's a kind of the long-winded answer of the why. I've caught myself questioning again why with my mom passing. It just really changed my priorities, and I want to be passionate and helping in the areas where I can. I know that sound decision making, I mean, looking at that budget, I love numbers, but everything needs to be spent wisely and efficiently. And again, if we're not doing something that provides value, why do it?
Awesome. Thank you.
Plus, David said I had to.
I didn't threaten him, but your wife's gonna. You and Mike are treading a dangerous path tonight, talking about your wives.
Any other questions for him?
No, but thank you for stepping up.
I appreciate it. I just
Our
wanted to see
condolences
who
on
was
your
doing
mom.
it.
Yeah,
You got a great team to work with, by the way.
Dave is a neighbor of mine, and we were part of that Stonehaven group 5 years ago, and it's crazy how quickly time has flown and how our beautiful little city is changing.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Good luck, Trent.
All right, so I move we approve the mayor's appointment of Kyle Restad. I hope I said that. Did I say that right, Kyle?
Sure.
Is it
Restad.
Restad. I want it to be right on the record. Appointment of Kyle Restad to serve as board member of the Middleton Library Board from 9/1 of 2025 to 9/1 of 2030.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Woohoo! Number 10, consider authorizing the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with Jacobs Engineering Group, Inc. to provide program and construction management support for the city's wastewater treatment plant expansion project, an initial task order for the review of projects documents and initial permitting assistance in the amount not to exceed $246,499. Mr. Van Gilbert.
Thank you, Mayor. Council Mayor Jason Van Gilder, your Public Works Director again. As we've talked about our treatment plant, we are moving forward. The design firm that has helped us so far, Ardura, they're continuing to help us, but they've had some change, and we've found the need to both bring in, ensure we've got the right people helping us to get this very large, very substantial project constructed right, and help us do the permitting side, and also be able to incorporate the innovative environmental natural treatment processes, make all that work together. To that end, we published a request for qualifications from firms to submit. We got 5 very well qualified firms submitted a statement of qualifications. We formed a review committee internally, including the mayor, city administrator, myself, the city engineer, and Nate Bryan, our wastewater treatment plant. We each individually reviewed all of the submissions are received, scored them, and then met together to talk about next steps. The conclusion of that was that we would like to contract with Jacobs Engineering Group. They are a national firm, but have a strong presence here in the Valley, particularly in the areas of natural treatment. They've just done extensive work over at Napa's treatment plant expansion, a number of other plants around the area. Jeff Hudson, I'm sorry, Jeff for the next several years is in the back as their project manager for us, and thank him for coming. But what's before you tonight is the recommendation based on that recommendation that we have the master services agreement that we anticipate issuing multiple task orders to. The first task order we have is for them to review what we've done. Not all that different from our business forum recommendation, providing a third-party review. This will give a great opportunity for some really smart people to take another look at everything we're planning to do in the next 4 or 5 years, and get a good set of eyes on those, get them to understand, and also bring in their permitting assistance as we get our draft permit to be able to make comments on that and understand the implications of that, as well as wrap in our natural treatment. They are separately contracted to do the wastewater or the recycle water master plan, so this work will tie in very nicely with that work, where they'll be able to take not only that plan but look at the larger picture of how we're going to address all of these permitting concerns in the years to come. So it's the master services agreement that will have multiple task orders. This is the first task order for that that gets us through probably till really we get to construction, and then we'll have them get a task order to provide on-site construction management, construction inspectors for this specialized work. We also have them looking at an interim job to help us with sludge removal from our sludge pond, but that will be a task order for another day. So, master service order, first task agreement. I will stop talking and see if there are other questions folks may have.
Next budget cycle?
Largely, it's both can be contained in this one. We're not going to spend $246,000 in the next month, so most of it will be next budget cycle, which is covered, but we have enough to cover what's in this budget cycle as well.
Okay. So it is contained in the
Yes,
budget?
it is contained.
Okay.
Perfect.
I know we're just at that time of year where you're like,
Yes.
all right, any other questions for Jason? All right. I move we authorize the mayor to execute a professional service agreement with Jacobs Engineering Group Incorporated to provide program and construction management support for the city's wastewater treatment plant expansion project. An initial task order for review of the project documents, initial permitting assistance, in an amount not to exceed $246,499.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Council.
Okay, information items. Number 1, Idaho Department of Environmental Quality, IDEQ and the City of Middleton staff to present information regarding the city's stormwater system MS4 permit. IDEQ representative, Mr. Van Gilder, Public Works Director, and Mr. Hilty, our City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could start with this. We have had discussions with council over the last several, at least a couple times in the last several months, about our stormwater permit. This is a permit that is very parallel. It's kind of the same permit, but kind of different, that allows us to discharge into the Boise for our wastewater treatment plant. This allows us to discharge stormwater, essentially the water that falls on our ground that may get polluted by our roads, our streets, our roofs, whatever else happens to be in the neighborhood, and then eventually finds its way to the Boise River. So this permit is one that we currently have. We have had this permit for the last 20 years. In researching this permit, we are a bit of an anomaly in that not many other cities our size in Idaho have this. We initially got this because we were grouped in with Nampa and Caldwell in a large urbanized area. That grouping has since disbanded, and we are now sort of our own urbanized area, but we are maintaining the permit. Our permit has come up for renewal, and we've talked about what options there are and what implications there are for continuing. I've had a number of discussions both with Mark Hilty, our legal counsel, and IDEQ, and IDEQ in there was gracious enough to offer to come and present some of the reasons we might want to consider and more perspective on this issue. So I'd like to certainly extend my thanks to IDEQ for coming and sitting through the meeting. We've had a great civics lesson tonight on all things small city. We have Heidi Kay is our compliance officer that most directly interacts with us, both on the treatment plant and the storm sewer. Her boss, Troy Smith, sorry, and Brent King is with the AG's office to talk about some legal things. So I would like to turn this over to them and let them give a little introduction. Mark, I know, has other things, but maybe he'll chime in later. So thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for making some time for us. So, as Mr. Van Gilder said, my name is Heidi Kay. I'm your IPDS compliance officer, so I'm the one that reaches out to you when it's wastewater compliance at your treatment facility, or it's the MS4 permit, which he described. And anyway, I don't know, you're probably aware of this. We were expecting to see your permit renewal application on the 3rd of April this year. That's when it was due and it didn't come. So we've had a lot of conversations about getting hopefully a permit renewal application from you. And I wanted to go over some of those reasons why you need to have the permit, what some of the consequences may be if you don't get the permit. And then we're happy to talk about other municipalities like Mr. Van Gilder mentioned in the state of Idaho. So feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have any questions, or myself or Troy or Frank can answer them for you. So I just first wanted to get started on why you need this permit. You're in a little bit of a different situation than the other municipalities in the state here. So since you were part of that Nampa urbanized district or urbanized area, you got a permit that states specifically that you cannot get out of having an MS4 permit, even if that urbanized area is dismantled or the census data shows otherwise. So it is required by your permit that you do that. That is supported by guidance from EPA published in the Federal Register. They've been very consistent over several years that is the expectation that you would maintain an MS4 permit in your situation. And then also it just makes sense, you know, you're still going to be discharging pollutants, you're discharging to impaired water body, you're growing, right? You're going to get bigger, you're going to have more people. Right now, for us to consider any other municipality, they have to have at least 10,000 residents, and you have met that mark, and you do meet, or if you don't meet it exactly, you're very close to meeting the density requirement. So all the justifications are there for you to have the permit, and we need you to apply for it because it is going to be required by law. So I know it's maybe not what you wanted to hear, not what you were hoping for. Would you like me to talk about the consequences if you don't apply for the permit, or would you like me to talk about more the other municipalities and how we're evaluating them for MS4 permit coverage? I plan on covering both those topics, but what would you prefer to hear first?
Maybe both.
Maybe both. Go over them all both at the same time. Let me talk about the consequences of not having a permit or not reapplying for the permit. And this is my biggest concern. So as your compliance officer, I would be obligated to refer you to enforcement with DEQ. That enforcement would look like a consent order, likely look like a consent order that would have a fine associated with it. It would also have a requirement that you reapply for permit coverage. So it will move in that direction with potentially some fine for you. What I'm most concerned about, though, is not DEQ's enforcement. What I'm most concerned about is the potential for third-party lawsuits. And I'd like to explain a little background about that. So the position that I'm in currently is relatively new to me. Prior to this, I was working in the enforcement department at DEQ for this program. And during that time, 2 years ago, there was one third-party lawsuit brought against a municipality for non-compliance with their IPDS permit. Last year, there were 5 third-party lawsuits brought. 4 of them were against municipalities. 1 was against an industry. So we do know that we have nonprofit organizations watching our municipalities and our industries to make sure they're complying with their permit. If you're not already aware of this, anything that you are required to do in your permits ends up on a public website called ECHO. It's put together by EPA so the public can see when you're complying, when you're not complying with your permit. These, the third-party lawsuits, they do have the ability to propose a fine of up to $64,000, give or take, per day per violation. So I know it's an expensive program for you to operate, but the potential cost to have a lawsuit like that is enormous.
$64,000 a day?
$64,000 per day per violation.
God.
Yeah, it's significant. And I really want to make sure that you are in the strongest position, that if you're going to choose not to get a permit, that you're in that strong position so you don't end up financially in a worse place than you're concerned about going. So that's very concerning. They also, those third-party lawsuits, they can also go back 5 years and pull anything in, that's their statute of limitations, and bring that into the lawsuit also. So it also takes the compliance out of the state's hands, so they're gonna be driving that, not us with the enforcement. And I feel like I wanna have a good working relationship with you, and I wanna make sure that I'm helping you comply with your permit to the best I can. Yes, sir.
How does this permit prevent a third party from suing us?
So the third party still can sue you if you are violating your permit. But if you don't have coverage at all, that is a violation every day that you don't have coverage. So as
No, I understand. That part I got. I'm trying to understand. I mean, I get it. We've had it. We gotta have it. Okay. But if there's these third parties running around looking, they got nothing else to do. What does this permit? How does a permit like this protect the Middleton, city of Middleton, against these third-party people that like to drive around and find something to do?
Well, the permit will lines out all the requirements that you have to meet in order to comply with the Clean Water Act. So all the third-party lawsuits are saying is that this municipality is not complying with the Clean Water Act. So if you do what's in your permit, then you're in good shape, yeah. It's when you say you don't want a permit and you're required to have a permit, and they can see you're required to have a permit, that you make yourself very vulnerable.
Oh, I could completely see them parked at the end of town waiting. So, okay, thank you.
And then one thing also to consider, so your permit expires on September 30th. Again, I mentioned we were looking to have an application by the 3rd of April. When that September 30th date passes, if that permit expires, we have no mechanism to get you one quickly. So our permitting team is backlogged. If it expires and we decide, ooh, too much risk, we want you to come in and get us a permit so that we have that umbrella to protect us from potential third-party lawsuits. We do not have a mechanism to do that in a timely manner right now because we have so many permits in our backlog. So I would suggest that it's most protective for your municipality to make sure that you can submit this application and continue your permit coverage administratively through the permit that you already have. Any other questions? Yes?
Why are we being held to a standard that other small cities don't have to meet just because we were on some document years ago?
Great question. That's the next one on the list. So there is, just by virtue of, as I mentioned before, that you were part of that Nampa urbanized area, you were issued a permit. That was a requirement at that time. It has a statement in it. It says, once a small MSWR is designated into the program based on urbanized area boundaries, it cannot be waived from the program if in a subsequent urbanized area calculation, the small MS4 is no longer within the urbanized area boundaries.
So it sounds to me like you just need to rewrite that statement so that we can exit it.
I would love to, but I can't. This was written by EPA in the permit that you currently have. We haven't written an MS4 permit.
The EPA is in our butt all the time. Quite frankly, that's why we're having to redo our wastewater treatment plants again. This Environmental Protection Agency is a little too big for their britches. And I agree with having clean water. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the government telling me what I gotta do. Especially when it doesn't make sense.
I do empathize because I have read your permit and it's substantial. It will be consistent whether it's a general permit, which we anticipate in issuing in the next 4 to 5 years. The general permit will be what is issued to other municipalities that are around your size within the state that are determined to need an MS4 permit. But we don't have that permit yet. So I don't know what the permit language will be in there, but that's going to be the first opportunity that we really have to change any of this language. I don't know that we could even change this specifically because there's been so many consistent instances in the Federal Register where EPA is saying this over and over again. Believe me, I wish I had an off-ramp for you. I know it's a lot of money for your municipality.
And you're the messenger.
I'm the messenger, yes.
I'm not trying to kill the messenger.
No.
I'm just trying to get my point across.
I definitely understand and I do empathize and I can understand that it's frustrating. So I know you put some research into looking at what's going on around in other areas of the state with small municipalities and yeah, we're evaluating them right now. We've got 16 in the docket that we're looking at. We've got the general permit writers team. We've got it on the radar to write permit. It's going to take us some time to evaluate them. I know we've started and I know that there will be municipalities that are required to have an MS4 permit once we finish that evaluation. But it's not done yet and we don't have the general permit to issue to them. You are in a situation where it specifically states that you have to have it and they don't want you to end up in a real difficult spot because you don't. Yeah.
So we're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know where we're stuck and we'll move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm happy to, I've talked to Mr. Van Gilder about this, looking for ways that we could maybe find some cost cutting for you. I've already reached out to Washington Ecology to see what they're doing for their smaller municipalities. I got another contact here in the state of Idaho that I'm going to talk with, to see if there's what can we do to help you achieve all the minimum requirements in your permit, but not have to go or spend above and beyond that, because I know it's a cost that you have to bear, the city and all its citizens.
Any questions?
No, I'm good.
Do you have a card?
I do. I do have a business card. I'll give that to you before I leave. So anyway, thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you answering our questions.
Absolutely. And feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'd be happy to answer more.
Thank you, Heidi. I think the legal counsel wanted to talk to counsel in executive session more on this. Can I say that? No. So that will wrap up our informational item. we will have an executive session about something or other, and then on your agenda is a final action item. So if there's any more questions for me that you'd like to ask now, I'm glad to wrap up do that or wrap up the discussion. And keep going.
Thank you. Jason, what's the difference between the price of this permit that we're forced to take and the permit that we would need as a smaller city?
If all of the permits, all the MS4 permits are largely driven by the requirements in the Federal Register, IDEQ is not adding things to that. So every stormwater permit is going to have basically the same things.
So whether it's...
They're nodding. So we're going to have the same things as Boise, as Napa, as Garden City. Garden City's kind of under Napa's permit. The unregulated ones really don't know about this and aren't doing anything. So you either have a permit that has all these requirements, or you don't.
Okay.
And we would kind of like to be in the line of the people that don't waiting for the permit to get to us, then there. But that may not be an option to us. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to point out that MS4 is better than MS13.
It took me a long time to realize what MS4 stands for, and it's
I'm sorry,
separated stormwater sewer systems, and I kept wondering why there was an MS3 or an MS2.
I did my little research here while they were talking.
Yes, thank you. Here to inform, but thank you again for coming out.
Okay, at this point, we will have the mayor make a couple of comments. I just have short ones, right? Am I doing something? I got the look. I wanted to remind everybody that our children are back in school, and please slow down and be mindful where they're not, because they're children. And also, we have 2 new lights at our mini roundabout located at Middleton Road and Cornell. Council, did you want to say anything? Or staff? Good. Oh, we have one. Murray.
I'd like an action item on the first meeting in September for council to utilize its powers under 50-706 to call a special meeting of council, a joint meeting with the ITD board and Canyon Highway 4.
So I will take that into consideration and look at the agenda and see how soon we can get that out. You're staring at me.
Can't do it September 1st?
I don't know yet.
Because council members in this city have the right to add action items to an agenda unless it is
Absolutely.
derogatory or defamatory.
That is true, absolutely true, and the mayor makes the decision when that gets on as soon as possible. Correct? So I'll talk to them and we'll make, I just don't want to make any promises. Okay, at this time, I'll ask the public to exit the meeting room for executive session.
See you later. See you later, Tyson. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks for taking